Hey guys, this is Lil with another raid video. I hope you guys have been doing well. I know it's been a couple of weeks. To be honest, work's just been super busy, family life is busy, it's going to be my son's fourth birthday in a couple of days, and I've been busy doing this, which I hope makes up for lack of videos. A new version of RSL Helper came out, specifically... There's my phone, apologies. Specifically looking at sell files. It was one of the big updates. So, a load of people have been using my sell files. I'm really proud of them. And I talked to other people in the community about them. And I'd been working on the leveled sell rules, and as it was before, you had two separate sell files, one for gear coming in and one for your leveled gear, and no one had really brought out a full leveled gear sell file. So today, that's what you're getting. Everything from 0 to 16 in my sell file, in my format. I've done an endgame and a late game version because on my last videos about sell files, everybody asks me, have you got a late game version? Because I don't think anybody's got a really great late game sell file at the moment. So let's go and talk about it. I'm going to do a quick recap on my sort of approach to gearing and what to keep and what substats to look for. And then we're going to go into the sell file. What I'll probably do is do a bit of an overview today, and I'll put links in the descriptions to the actual sell files, which I'll just put on my Google Drive. And then I'll probably do a follow-up, more advanced guide for, look, if you want to tweak these, how harsh would I say they are? That's tough. I don't think they're that harsh. I think they're harsh, but not super harsh. So we'll go into all of that, what roles things have got to get. I got to be honest, I've put more hours than I can count into this at this point. So I really hope you appreciate it. And do hit a like, subscribe, share, comment. All of that helps so much. YouTube, basically, if you do any of those things, YouTube recommends this video to other people who play Raid. And if you don't, then it doesn't go anywhere and I get a few hundred views. And I really want this to get shared. I'm also going to message the Farb Stuff mods and see if we can get the sell file listed there as well. So this should be the video guide to the sell file. Welcome if you've not been here before. So I got to be honest, I use a Razer Orb Weaver just generally for playing games, and I remapped its buttons just for the sell file. So one button is if stat is present at and then next one is value if hits one roll, double roll, triple roll. I got mapped on there so that when I was going down, it's single roll, double roll, triple roll. Anyway. I'm really happy that it's done, and I hope that you guys find it useful. I've tested it this morning. We'll probably find some more things wrong with it. I'm probably going to find bugs in it for the next couple of days. So I would say, big caveat, just make sure you're eyeballing what it's selling for now. Over time, I'll keep updating, and I'll probably just put a pinned comment in every time I update the file so that you guys know. At the moment, I've done several hours of testing. I'm reasonably happy. Could it be missing some stuff? Yeah, it could. So I would say just eyeball it for now. As more people get to use it, and feel free to ping me or drop a comment if you find something that you think it's selling that you don't think it should. Obviously, don't blindly sell everything. That is the aim. The aim here is auto artifact management, right? What I'd really love Farb Stuff to put in is ascension checks, because they don't exist right now, and to me that makes a difference. If I've got a 6-star pair of crit damn gloves and they've only hit 2 decent substats by 16, I'm selling them unless they hit crit damn on the ascension or attack a percent on the ascension. Then I'll probably keep them. So like I say, everyone's gear is at different levels. I've tried to make these rules endgame, but not super endgame. So someone like Drock is probably not using these because he's probably selling those gloves unless they're a triple roll in attack percent or whatever. So everyone's gear is in a slightly different place. I tried to pitch these at a decent endgame level that I felt. So let's go and talk about it. Oh, and I haven't flipped. Hold on. Oh, I keep forgetting I've taken the transition off this thing. I took it off because I was doing a short the other day and I keep forgetting to turn it back on. Sorry, no whizzy transition. Right, for anyone new here, this is my approach to gearing. I've covered it in my other gears of videos. I split gear into 3 categories: damage gear, general gear, and protection gear. So damage gear is Slayer, Merciless, Lethal, Savage, all the usual gear sets that you want damage gear, damage stats in. General is all the generals, yeah, reflex, speed, God, I can't even, hold on, I'll have to look at my notes to remind myself what I've listed in general now. If I could find my own notes, there we go. Right, so yeah, taunting, righteous, stone skin, cursed, reflex, all the sort of gear sets that, you know, you want a mix of stats in. Pretty much. So like just general gear, you want fast, you want accuracy, you want some, you know, some HP and defense, and then protection type sets. So that might be defiant, that might be regen, protection, you know, all those sort of tanky gear sets where you're looking for more of a lean towards HP and defense and resist type stats as opposed to just all out speed, you know, for sort of general gear. So that's what I've tried to reflect in the table up at the top there. I'll just move that so it's easier for me to see. Yeah, so damage gear, your main focus will be crit rate. But typically what and again, these sell files are about substat combinations. So you say, okay, and these are my benchmarks. Do you know what? Mid-game, and some people ask me about mid-game sell files, I probably wouldn't even create a sell file for mid-game, or if you were going to create, like I won't create one personally, because I think it's too broad. At mid-game, I wouldn't be splitting stats down by sets. I'd just be saying something like, anywhere you see speed, you know, doubled stats. So anywhere you see speed and crit rate together, keep it. Anywhere you see speed and accuracy together, keep it. Anywhere you see an HP or defense chest with speed on it, keep it. You know, I feel like because the rules are so lax at mid-game, it's almost not worth me like doing a big breakdown file for it. This is broadly my late game and end game approach, okay? So looking at those gear sets, and it's about number of substat combination and then numbers of rolls into those substats as you level them up, okay? We're going to get into a much bigger table than this in a minute, so you can see how I've created the sell file and hopefully understand how it works. So this is where, and I've been through this before and it hasn't really changed. At late game, you're looking at more or less 5-star, epic or greater rarity. You know, as the gear sets become worse, then you start increasing the threshold. So, you know, if it's a B tier set, then it's got to be a 6-star epic. You know, if it's a limited edition, which I've been calling S++, and I don't know why that one's not green, because it should be green. So S++ is your limited availability sets. That's Slayer, that's Merciless, that's Impulse, and then, you know, and those limited editions change as your end game, late game changes, because then, like Lethal, you probably only have a limited amount of, because maybe you're not killing Dark Fae every time, and only you can kill Dark Fae up to a certain level. So we're going to talk about the end game first, and depending on how time's looking, I might do a totally separate video for the late game. So the end game, keeping no 5-star except for limited edition, okay? And we'll get into that in a minute. S tier gear's got to match 2 substats, A tier gear's got to match 2 substats, and B tier gear has got to match 4 substats. So these are good substats, yeah? So good substats that go together. So not has a protection piece, like a regen piece got speed and crit rate, because nobody wants a regen piece with speed and crit rate. Unless it triple rolls into speed, that's it. Yeah, they're not substats that go together in that set, and that's what we're looking at. Substats that go together, that get rolls into them as you level it up, that make sense for that set. So We'll just, and apologies, the codes are because it helps me build the cell file. So this is where my endgame rules are, okay? This is sorry, these are the sets, how the sets map to the tier, essentially. So Slayer and Merciless, Limited Edition S++, that's where we actually start to keep some 5-star gear, even as an endgame account. S tier is your Lethal, your Savage, your Stone Skin. And then A tier is just your other damage sets, you know, your instincts, maybe you're keeping some damage stats in perception to get that accuracy that you need, you know, for Hydra, your cruel, your crit dam. And then B tier sets, we're looking at, you know, the crit rates, the divine crit rate, the fatal, the retaliation, the sorts of sets that really you're probably not using that much. I think I moved Swift Parry up to A. I'm still not totally convinced that doesn't belong in B. So, you know, and the reason that I want to do a follow-up, more advanced video is because I want you to be able to tweak these for you. Yeah, so if you go, well, Lil, you're totally wrong. I think that Relentless is an S tier damage set. I put all my damage dealers in it. That's cool. You can do that. And I want you to be able to edit the file and go, right, I want to move Relentless for all these rules. I didn't look, actually, how many rules are in the file now. Let's. I'm going to check that out now. Hold on. Where's the file gone? Here we go. The endgame file now contains 3,500 rules, more or less. Yeah. So let's. Okay, so that's the damage sets, and then it goes down to the general sets. And again, now, if I'm honest, the sort of the S tier and the A tier for almost all of these are exactly the same in terms of the sort of what stats you're looking for, what sort of roles you're looking for if you're going to sell it or keep it. But I have split them in case I've split them out in the rules, so I've almost got more rules than I need in case you want to vary that. Yeah, so if you say, actually, no, I want to be stricter on this A tier and I want to demand that it's got, you know, a double roll in something at level 8 for a perception. Let's say it's a perception piece that's got accuracy and speed. Maybe you want to say it's got to hit one of those twice. Or let's say, example, one of my rules is by level 8, it can hit one of those twice or each of them once. So it can be a double roll or a split single roll as long as it hits both those stats. And you might say, well, Lil, no, I'm past that. I only want double rolls at level 8. If it was at level 8 and it had hit one roll into speed and one roll into accuracy, I would sell it. That's totally cool. That's where you are. But that's where you might want to edit these rules differently, which is why I did split out S tier and A tier. So you see that as we go through. Anyway, this is the sets and where I've sort of assigned them to. Apologies, it's duplicated on the right-hand side. That's just where I was classifying them. And I should point out, and I pointed out in other videos, for me, the sets down the side, niche and unused, I just sell them, okay? If you want to keep them, that's fine. You need to add them into one of the rule sets, you know, to one of the tier sets. I don't use avenging, I don't use defense, and I should also point out, even my late game cell file is built presuming you don't use lifesteal anymore. I ummed about it, whether to keep it in or whether to take it out. I went and checked Hell Hades' website, and his definition of late game was you're starting to move away from lifesteal. So I was like, in that case, we're not going to include lifesteal, okay? So this is where we are for general sets. Yeah, so Relentless, Reflex, Cursed, Protection, you can read just as well as me reading it out to you. Stone Skin, Supersonic, Merciless, Impulse, Righteous, and the S tier. And then for the A tier, we got Provoke, Perception, Speed, Fortitude, Stun, and Divine Speed. And then we've got Accuracy, Resist, Swift Parry, Retal, and Resilience as the B tier sets. And then the last sets, sort of the the protection type sets: Bolster, Regen, Stone Skin, Guardian, Immortal, Defiant, Fortitude, and Shield. And broken down, as you can see. Sorry, I realised I didn't say which tier I'm counting them as. So let's go and take a look at the actual rules, okay? I should check. In fact, let me cover that off now before I forget. So, before we get into this, and apologies because it's actually got my this is how you need to figure this stuff out, because you're looking at the values. So you go, okay, well, what does a double roll in a 6-star look like? What's the minimum maximum range of that? Because every substat has a minimum maximum and a roll minimum maximum. So in my cell files everywhere, it excludes the lowest roll. So 5 is my minimum for any substat, because that's the minimum on a 6-star substat. So if you've got a 5-star piece that you really like and the substats on it are great, but it's got a speed of 4, it's a low roll on a speed, it's getting sold, okay? There is no low roll below 5 in my rules. So let's cover some other housekeeping here, okay? So there's a few rules at the very top of my cell file, and I'll break down the sort of how it, in fact, I'll cut over to that now. In fact, let's go and do that first. Okay, so this is what the cell file looks like when you've got it in RSL Helper. I need to bring it up, there we go. And, is that right? Yeah, you're not cut off. No, good, okay. So this is what the file looks like when you're in RSL Helper. Now, we've got some blanket rules here at the top, which I just want to highlight, and then I'll get into sort of the format of a cell file, okay? So, the blanket rules at the top. Actually, this was me testing something, so I can actually delete that now. I just was having some trouble with this one. So, delete that and delete that. There we go. Right. So, the first two rules. If you're doing the Marius missions, you do not want to sell any Impulse or Zeal gear, because you need one item for every slot, because you need to equip someone with 6 pieces. So the first two rules are, keep everything that's Impulse and Zeal. When you finish the Marius mission, delete rules 1 and 2 out of this file, and then you're good to go. They're included in the sets, as I outlined a second ago. So yeah, just that's your Marius mission rules right there. The next rule, and I don't know why these aren't organised together, so let me move them up. I try to keep the file organised because it helps me think about it, and I also want to move that one up. Sorry, I did this in the late game cell file, and then didn't do it in this cell file. I'm also going to move these ones up. Okay, yeah, I only want the speeds. There we go. So the problem is that now you've got to have before you needed to have a rule for every set, but it was only at level 0. And now, thankfully, you've got the sets, so you can have a single rule for lots of sets, but now you need a rule for every, you need a rule for every substat combination, and then you need a rule for every substat combination plus the level you want it to check at. So yeah, so you'll see here, the next set of rules are about mythical gear, okay? So these two rules say, if it's rolled into crit rate, if it's a mythical and it's got what's essentially a double roll, because like a mythical, when it's got the red stat, the mythical stat is a double. Yeah, so it's a double roll. So this is saying if you double rolled, if speed is the mythical stat or crit rate is the mythical stat, then keep it. No matter what, yeah, it doesn't matter what substat, what main stat, nothing, it just keeps it, okay? I don't know why we got that one twice, but I also don't know why we are missing our accuracy rule. So and of course I've unmapped that for now. So accuracy double roll 27. Is it? No, it's 18. Sorry, for a single hit. So 18 on accuracy. Edit rule, save. There we go. So now, anything that's mythical with crit rate, speed, or accuracy as the mythical stat is kept, okay? And you can deal with that yourself. The next rule is, if it's a speed set with the speed substat, keep it, regardless of anything else in the cell file. So, and for me, and this might vary for you, what I deem speed sets is speed, divine speed, protection, righteous, and supersonic. They're your arbiter pieces, your Siffy pieces. So again, you might be beyond this, and I've said even 5-star, and you might say, no, I'm only keeping 6-star, even if it's, and we're saying epic and over, because to me, a double roll isn't worth keeping. You get double rolls relatively frequently, so we're looking for triple rolls in speed. So again, you might be past that, in which case, get rid of that rule. These next rules are keeping your triple rolls and higher. So this says at level 12, keep it if it's triple rolled, and at level 16, keep it if it's triple rolled. No matter what set it's in, no matter what level, no matter what rank and rarity it is, just keep any triple speed rolls. I've got the same down here, so the reason that these ones are up here and these ones are down here is because in between those is the flat stat rule. Sell anything that's flat stat. So I would keep flat stat speed if it was a triple roll. I wouldn't keep flat stat crit rate if it was a triple roll. This rule is keep all limited edition accessories. I'll be honest, I may or may not have this rule twice. So in fact, let's just update this here as well. Save. This is just before anything else. If it's an accessory, you see, this doesn't even say accessory. So let's check. It's because it says necks, rings, and banners. So there we go. So this is saying keep all those special accessories. Don't sell any of them. Next rule is sell, and the way a sell file works. Sorry, because I'm in the way. If I move that way, there you go. Sell. That shoulder there. A sell file is a long list of keep if this, and then at the very end, otherwise sell. Yeah. So if you didn't find a rule that said there's a reason to keep this artifact, then it gets sold. Okay. So apologies, I'm just checking the time. We're 20 minutes in. So from there, so that's our. And again, if you say, well, actually, Lil, I don't care about instinct set, then you can just edit that rule and that will sell all instinct sets. Or if you say, actually, I do want to keep lifesteal and bloodthirst, you can just untick that from this sell rule, and then you need to go and add it into one of the set rules later on. So rule 14 is where it actually starts. The very first, I think it's only the S plus tier, it might be the S tier as well, on damage, are not organised altogether. It starts with the 0 rules and then with the leveled rules. Everywhere else in the file, they're together. So it goes through and it says, if you find a top row piece that has crit rate and speed, keep it. If you find something that's got crit rate and HP, keep it. If you find something that's got crit rate and attack, keep it. And it goes down like that. And then further down the cell file, it gets into, okay, once that top row piece with crit rate and speed has been rolled to level 8, did it hit speed? Is speed now 10? And if it is, then keep it. And then the next rule is, did it roll into crit rate? Is crit rate 10? Keep it. And the next one is it split? Is it a split roll? Did it roll one into speed and one into crit rate by level 12? If so, keep it. Did it double roll into crit rate? Keep it. Did it double roll into speed? Keep it. And then level 16, more or less, is following level 12. It depends on. I'll go back to the table in a minute and explain it. And this says just keep it. If I didn't have these rules, these level 16 rules, it would sell them. Or I'd need to make a rule right at the end that said keep all level 16 gear. So I haven't included 4. For level 4 is an option to set sell rules for. I have not set any sell rules for 4. I think you should always take stuff up to level 8. I'm going to just have a drink because lots of talking. So there's no 4 rules. It just keeps everything at level 4, no matter what. So let's just go quickly. Right, this is how I decided. You can't even see all of it. Hold on, let me get rid of that. Okay, this is how I decided what should be kept and what should not be kept. Okay, and I went through all the sets. So right, let's start. I'll start with something simpler. Right, so let's take the general sets down here. Yeah, so this is a general set, and this is tier S. This is actually tier S and tier A. We're only keeping 6-star gear. It's got to be epic. And this rule applies to all slots. And it says if it's got speed and accuracy, speed and resist, speed and HP, or speed and defense. Yeah, so it's looking for any two of these altogether. And then by level 8, it's got to roll into one of them once. By level 2, it's got to roll into two of them, either a double roll or split rolls. I don't mind, you can stay. And by level 16, it's just kept, as long as it's met those rules. So it's double rolled into something or it's split rolled into two good stats, then we're keeping it. Okay? And it carries on down like that. So gloves and chests with stats that we want in general sets. So, I'm not keeping attack percent chests in general sets because I'm not looking for damage stats in general sets. So, and again, slightly special case here. This is saying if it's an HP or defense and it comes with speed, then let's keep it. Otherwise, it's got to have two good substats. And by level 8, you know what? If it whiffs two rolls, that's fine. But by level 12, it's got to have at least one good roll. And by level 16, it's got to have two good rolls. So let's say, it's got to have hit speed twice. Or it's got to have hit speed once, but then rolled into one other good substat. So, let's say it was an epic piece and it had speed and it rolled into speed once by level 12 and then we took it up to 16 and all the other rolls have been into flat HP, but on the last roll it rolled HP percent. That would be a keeper. Okay, and whether or not that's good for you or not, I am happy to take feedback on this table. I spent ages quizzing some of the other leaders in my clan in the Cthulhu cluster. And yeah, this is where I sort of landed thinking about, and there's only so long that people will tolerate you going, okay, but in this scenario, what would you do? And if you had this piece of gear, what would you do? Okay, so, and again, S tier, general gear, what we've done here, so we've got a few rules here, a couple of rules here about gloves, and what this is saying is, do you know what? If we do find a pair of crit rate gloves or a pair of crit down gloves in a general set or in a protection set, that have got really good substats, we'll keep them. Because sometimes that's useful. Like, if I think about my Lydia, who I just rebuilt for Hydra for using in my Trunder team, she's in crit rate gloves because she's not built for damage, really, but she's going to be in there and she can do some damage. So actually, it used to be just a sell all crit rate gloves once you got late game, once you got end game. But actually, I think my Earstrid's in crit rate gloves and she's got like over 250 crit dam and 6k attack or something like that. So actually I was like, do you know what, there is a case for keeping them if they're excellent. So this is saying it's got to be 6-star, it's got to be epic, and they've got to have 3 good substats, whatever that might be. So if you pull out a 6-star crit damage glove in speed set and it's got crit rate, speed and attack percent, you can keep it. And then again, the rules are, and this is my normal rule, is by level 8, it's got to hit one good substat. By level 12, it's got to hit 2. As long as it's hit 2 good substats, double or split, then it can stay. And it carries on like that. We're stricter on boots that are, non-speed boot. And again, we're not keeping any attack percent boots in general gear. And we're a bit more lax on speed boots. 6-star speed boots, as long as they've got one good substat for a general set, then we'll keep them. And you know what? We're even lax on the rolls here. We're saying by level 8, it can have whiffed twice. It can have hit that flat HP 2 times. As long as it hits 1 time into accuracy, for example, then we'll keep it. As long as by level 16, it's then hit 2 good substats, or it's hit one roll into a good substat and the 4th substat has turned into something good, or it hit a 4th good substat. And that's how it carries on. And the level 8 rules, you got to have 3 good substats if they're gloves. You got to have 4 good substats if it's a top row piece to be kept. Because these are really, honestly, the B tier are kind of the gear that I would just sell. So it's like, unless you're godly, then get out of here. And that's how the file goes down. I actually thought that there were some legendaries in here. There's a special set in damage for that S++ sort of gear, so your Merciless and stuff. Merciless actually appears in general as well because of its because of its reflex sort of, refresher skill. But the S plus in the damage is the only time as an end game that, for me, you should be keeping 5-star gear, and then it should be really good. And that's more or less what these rules say, is keep good substats when you find them together, and then depending on, how rare that item is, so let's say, 6-star plus, so this is your crit dam, 6-star merciless gloves. As long as they've got one good substat, well, if they've got speed or crit rate, just keep them. Otherwise, they've got to hit 2 good substats. Yeah, so attack and accuracy together, or attack and speed, or attack and crit rate. And you know what? If it whiffs 2 rolls, that's fine, as long as it hits 1 roll by level 12, and as long as it hits 2 by 16, or 1 plus 1 good. And that's how the sell file goes down, all the way down, right? And then I guess the last one that's worth pointing out is accessories. We already said we were keeping those special accessories. And then everything that's general, so a non-special stat, I've called B tier. And again, we're only keeping 6-star, we're only keeping epics. It's got to have matching substats, that's pretty standard. And all banners must have speed. If it does not have speed, it gets sold, especially with the amount of special accessories now, you just got to get rid of them. Crit dam, it's got to hit one of the substats from your damage, so it's got to have, crit dam has got to have either accuracy or a damage multiplier stat. Let me check. Was there anything else I needed to point out here? Okay, so I should point out that my sell file does not keep any attack percent gloves, so except for stone skin, and it also does not look at them once they're leveled. So manage your own attack percent gloves. The reason I don't keep them is because I have one bomb champ on my account. I use him for bommel, and that is it. So I'm not interested in attack percent gloves. If you want me to build a rule in, then post a comment, and I can add a rule in for attack percent gloves. If you tell me what I guess it goes into damage A tier, but it depends what sets you're looking for your attack percent gloves in. Again, I don't use them, so that's why I've just excluded them. Right, and I should also, I can't really talk about, there's a trick that I'm doing in the late game file. We'll have to talk about that later, but essentially, so that I don't have to make multiple rules, one for 5-star epic and one for 6-star rare, because that's where I think as a late game account you should be from your gearing perspective. I've cheated and I've said keep all 5-star rare, but then for all the sets where I think actually you should just sell them, it actually just gets, there's a separate rule that says sell it if it's 5-star rare, but it's just because of the way that the rules work, I would have to double up every single rule. One to say keep 5-star epic if this, and this, and one to say if 6-star rare, then keep this, and this. So you would either miss out on those 6-star rare pieces, or you would you'd only be keeping 5 and 6-star epic and up. There is no 5-star if it's epic and then 6-star rare plus. So I've cheated by adding in a rule to sort of counter that, and we've said everything as long as it's 5-star or greater, and everything as long as it's rare or greater. But then right after that rule is sell anything in these sets if it's 5-star rare. So it lets us keep the 6-star rares and sell the 5-star rares. So yeah. Right, I am conscious that this video is long, okay? So what I'll probably do there, this is the sell file. The way that it's structured is how those tables are structured, okay? So we've got some blanket rules at the very top. They're the ones that take priority. Then it goes by tier down the damage sets. So S plus tier, those really rare limited sets. Then it goes down into the S tier, the A tier, and the B tier. And then it goes into the general sets. And then it goes, and again, down by tier. So you can see as I flick through very quickly, if I come down, then you can see these are my my A tier damage sets. and then down into the B tier damage sets and all the rules for them, and then as they get leveled up, where they should be sold or kept. And then we get into the general sets, and again, by tier. And again, it's just S, A, and B tier for those general and protection sets. And again, technically, the general and protection sets, the rules right now are exactly the same. So I could have reduced my own work and not had them split out. But because I wanted you to have the flexibility to edit those yourself, and say, actually, I think that this one needs to go up tier or down a tier, or I wanted to treat this type of gear differently. I want to make some different rules. I split them out to save you some work. So I've ended up with more rules to manage, but this way they're a bit more future-proof. So it goes through those protection, first all the general sets by tier, then all the protection sets by tier, and then at the bottom are, some blanket rules. Again, these are my Rotus banner rules, because I'm still looking for my perfect banner for Rotus. I did get a very, very good one the other day. Delete those if you don't have a Rotus and you don't need a HP banner that's got attack percent substat. These are your blanket keep all special accessories rules, even once they're leveled. Again, that I'm leaving that for you to manage yourself. And then we get into, if it's a banner without speed, then sell it. And then we get into, the matching substats and rolls. And then that's all the accessories rules. And again, we're only keeping attack percent necks if they've got accuracy, and every roll goes into accuracy. So again, really strict on those attack percent amulets, because again, I've got one that I'm using, and it's very infrequent that I use one. So, and then is the rule that says don't sell it once it hits level 4, and then the end rules are sell it. Yeah, if you didn't find a reason to keep it, then sell it. Now, if I just shunt this up a little bit, at the bottom here, and I would suggest that everyone do this, and I am right in the way, so that's really a real pain. Oh, I was trying to move myself and I failed miserably. There we go. So, there, right in the corner. I would say use this, because, right, I ran this, I was just looking at, the way I debug this is I run it on my account and I see what does it sell that I wouldn't want you to sell. And in this instance, there were a pair of 6-star speed crit damn boots. And I was going, why are you selling those? They look great. They had a double roll into attack and they had crit damn on them. So I'm like, they look all right. Why are you trying to sell those? And the answer was, because I don't keep anything rare. They were rare, and I don't, in my rules, 6-star epic or greater rarity only. Okay, so, and that was it. And as soon as I came in here and I went, hold on, what happens if I change that to epic? And then it said item is kept, and I don't know why it's going slow now. It did find the rule when I ran this earlier. I don't know why it's freaking out now. Probably because I've been doing too much. But I would say come in and do some tests. Yeah, so if you run it on your account and go and watch my RSL Helper video, if you want a guide on how to, loading a sell file is easy. You just click this load setup button and then browse to the file that you're going to download from the link in the description. But to actually run it against your inventory, just go and check out my RSL Helper video. There's an inventory button in RSL Helper. It's like 9 dots, and that will show and hide your inventory. And then you just tick the auto sell check, and that will compare your sell file. It will go through all your gear and then look at what the sell file says should be sold. So again, I'm looking at mine now in the background, and it's like trying to sell some rare crit damn gloves that have rolled, into one roll into HP percent, which is good, one roll into crit rate, which is good, and then they've rolled speed and accuracy as the other substats, and I'm like, they look quite good, but they're rare, so my sell file says to sell them. And that's where you got to make the call for you, where your gear is, and I'll do another video follow-up on how to edit this, so that if you wanted to change all the epics in the sell file to rare, how you would do that. Okay, guys. Right, I didn't even get into doing a cleanse of my gear, so what I'll probably do is do 2 follow-up videos. well, I'll do a video on the late game rules and what they look like. I'll do a video on, I've forgotten now. I'll do a video on running a cleanse on my account, and I'll do a video on how to edit the sell file if you want to edit it. I'm sorry this has been long. I think this is really powerful. Might need some tweaking. Like, actually, as I look at this now, I can see another piece that I'm going, why are you trying to sell that? And there'll be a few days of doing that, to be honest. I'll carry on using it and playing around with it. Like, I can see it's trying to sell a triple crit damn something. So it's tweaking and going, okay, on paper, I'm fine with that, but when I actually see you trying to sell that item, it makes me go, oof, but that looks really good. There'll be a little bit of tweaking as we go forward, and you'll have the same things where you go, Lil, what are you talking about? Why on earth would you try and sell that? That's my best piece. Again, I've tried to just draw a line in the sand for what I think makes sense for a whole chunk of people. Right, guys, I hope this has been useful. Like I said, seriously, like it, comment, let me know where your gearing is, if this is helpful, if you think I've got it totally wrong, if you want to come on Discord and chat with me, or become a member of the channel. I would love to bounce, these kind of things off other people that aren't just the people in my own clan. So yeah, okay, guys, I'm going to catch you in the next one. Cheers.